How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am back for another comic book video. In my last video, I did the 10 worst DC movies of all time. That was rough. This one, maybe even worse. In this one, I am going to be doing the 10 worst Marvel movies of all time. And, oh god, watching these movies was horrible. Oh, my brain may never forgive me for this. I have seen all the movies on this list except for one because I could not find it. If you have a chance, don't go see any of these. Just watch reviews of it. It'll be far less painful than actually watching the movie itself. These movies are not recommended for human consumption. There are a couple of movies on here that were made for TV, but they are still Marvel movies. And there's a couple of Marvel movies in here that are on the box office. I did not include any Marvel movies that were originally made for a TV series, and I actually have those listed on another list about the live-action pilots that were never made. These were movies that were made to be solely just movies. So, let's get started on this list with number 10. This movie, it's an action-packed movie, and that's about it. It stars the Hoff. Coming in at number 10, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. first premiered in 1998. It stars Colonel Nick Fury, David Hasselhoff, Contessa Valentina de Allegro Fontaine, Lisa Renee, Alexander Goodwin Pierce, Neil Roberts, and Andrina von Strucker, also known as Viper, Sandra Heiss, H-E-S-S, not sure. This movie was insanity personified. It was an excuse for David Hasselhoff to dress up as a superhero and spout a lot of cheesy one-liners while having a whole lot of action. It's one step above schlock. It actually had a storyline, but if you don't know Nick Fury, if you don't know the Von Struckers, it's not going to mean a whole lot to you. There is no score for this movie on Rotten Tomatoes, which means they haven't reviewed it yet, but it does have an audience score of 16%. If you missed this one in theaters, don't feel bad. It didn't broadcast in theaters. It was only a made-for-TV movie. Coming in at number 9, when they came out with this movie, I'm glad that they got the guy who played the hero in the first movie. I'm glad they got him to reprise his role. That sometimes doesn't happen when your first movie is bad to begin with. But the director said, hey, how can we take a bad movie and make it even worse? Well, number 9 found a way. Coming in at number 9, Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance premiered in 2011. It stars Johnny Blaze, Nicolas Cage, and Monroe, Idris Elba. I hope I said that right. This movie, I kind of gave up halfway through it. Apparently, Danny Cleach, which becomes the next Ghost Rider in the comic books, is supposed to be the new vessel for the devil. He needs a new body. This movie was just it was stupid. It was just dumb. The only thing that I could give this movie any credit for was Ghost Rider was able to spirit vehicle, I don't know. I know his Ghost Rider had flaming wheels. He was able to do it to other vehicles too in this movie. At least Ghost Rider looks like Ghost Rider. It's got a Rotten Tomatoes score of 17% and an audience score of 32%. The movie coming in at number 8 is an action-packed schlockfest. And It came out at the very end of the 80s and wouldn't even be mentioned if it wasn't a Marvel movie. It is that generic. The lines, the actions, the motivation, everything about this film is a generic film. And I probably wouldn't have watched it if it wasn't for the fact that it was a Marvel film. Coming in at number 8, Punisher. The Punisher first premiered in 1989. I believe this was also a made-for-TV movie. It stars the Punisher, Dolph Lundgren, and Jake Berkowitz, Louis Gossett Jr. This is a schlock fest full of mostly just action. Almost in every scene, there's almost nothing but action, and Punisher is shooting everybody. Apparently, the Yakuza want to come and take over New York, but the crime bosses don't want them to, and the Yakuza ended up kidnapping the kids. At one point, the cops actually catch the Punisher and throw him in jail, but they let him go pretty quickly because the last crimes boss kid is still being held by the Yakuza, so he teams up with the crime boss to go rescue the kid. And some stupidness happens where the crime boss ends up dying and the kid is saved, and it's just not worth it. The Punisher has a Rotten Tomato score of 28% and an audience score of 32%. Now, coming in at number 7 is a stupid movie. Some people say it is the worst superhero movie ever made. They obviously haven't seen this list. It is a stupid movie. It is a stupid premise. It is a stupid concept. The hero has not actually done too badly overall. That's the only kind thing I can say about this movie. It is dumb, dumb, dumb. And I feel like my IQ points have dropped after watching this movie, and I'm going to need to watch something intelligent to bring them back. Coming in at number 7, Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck first premiered in 1985. It stars Howard the Duck, voiced by Chip Zien, Beverly Switzer, Leon Thompson, Phil Blumbert, Tim Robbins. This movie is just, it goes beyond the realm of just being horrible. It's stupid. He uses so many duck puns. Everything is duck whatever. This scene in the movie, anytime I talk to somebody who describes Howard Duck, they describe this scene, and it's just okay. He comes to our world and he tries to make a living, and at one point it looks like Leah Thompson and the duck are gonna hook up, but thankfully they don't, because that would just be even worse than this movie already was. Howard the Duck has a chance to go home, but he destroys the machine that can send him home, so the evil overlords don't use the machine to come to our planet. I can't even begin to describe the stupidity of this movie. Howard has a Rotten Tomato score of 15% and an audience score of 38%. Now, coming in at number 6 and number 5. When I originally made the list for this video, these two were actually the number 1 and 2 movies on this list. The order of which was not really important. Since then, I have watched some bad movies. So, these two have also been stated as some of the worst Marvel superhero movies of all time. Worst superhero movies. But I think number 6 and number 5 might surprise you, and then get ready for what I have at the bottom of this list. Coming in at number 6, Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four came out in 2015. It stars Human Torch Michael B. Jordan, Susan Storm, Kate Mara, Mr. Fantastic Miles Teller, and The Thing Jamie Bell. I've got one very important important question for the movie. Where the hell are the Thing's pants? He's not wearing any pants. This thing strays so far from its comic book origins. The people are the wrong ages. The facility that they're working at is wrong. The argument for why they should be the first people to use the machine that they built is nonsensical. Why would you, the engineer, be the first one to use the machine? You're not even trained. How they got their powers are one of the stupidest damn things I've ever seen. And you know what? I'll go with rocks being in the chamber for Thing and fire being in the chamber for Human Torch. But why did Mr. Fantastic get stretchy powers? Was there a rubber band in the machine with him? And Sue, she didn't even go on the mission. How the hell did she get her powers? This is the stupidest concept. But it's a bad movie. It's horrible. It's not the worst one on this list, which is saying a lot. But this movie is just a stupid mess of nonsensical nonsense. Fantastic Four had a Rotten Tomatoes score of 9% and an audience score of 18%. Coming in at number 5, Hulk. Hulk came out in 2003. It stars Hulk, Eric Bana, Betty Ross, Jennifer Connelly, Thunderbolt Ross, Sam Elliott. It also has Lou Ferrigno and Stan Lee as security guards. This movie was trash. Just pure trash. They tried to make it seem like it was a comic book. Every time something was happening, these side panels would come up along with the movie to make it seem like a comic book, and these things were distracting. They didn't add to it. They actually took us away from what was actually happening. And the villain, he fought gamma-radiated dogs. What kind of stupid nonsense was that? And then, to represent the Hulk getting stronger as he got mad, he grew in size. Where is that in any of the comic books? I've read a lot of the Hulk comic books. I don't ever remember him increasing in size as he got angry. The only good part about this is when he was destroying military vehicles out in the desert. Give me an hour and a half movie of the Hulk doing that and I'll be satisfied. Hulk somehow got a Rotten Tomatoes score of 62% and an audience score of 29%. Number 4 is boring. It is a very boring Marvel superhero, and the concept may have not been that great of an idea to begin with because of how relatively unknown she is, but this movie is boring as hell. I mean, if you take in all of the action scenes in this movie, it's an hour and 36 minutes including the credits, there's probably about 20 to 25 minutes worth of action. The rest of it is just boring, nonsensical, and I started falling asleep while watching it, but I powered through. Caffeine. Coming in at number 4, Elektra. Elektra premiered in 2005 and stars Elektra, Jennifer Gardner. I think that the reason that they made Elektra is they were trying to piggyback on the success of Daredevil. Oh, wow. I can't believe I said that with a straight face. Oh my god, this movie was so stupidly ridiculous. It was pointless, it was unimaginative, and a movie that was an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half, there is 20 total minutes of excitement. The plot was stupid. Apparently Stick, who was the master of Daredevil, who happened to be her master too, had this nonsensical plot of making sure that Elektra was to find this next ninja martial arts prodigy, stupid, nonsensical BS. She falls in love with the dad, and now she can't kill him like she's made to do. But, hey, let's throw in a bit of action here and there so we can still have an action movie. This movie was god-awfully stupid. Daredevil wasn't even that good, so why did we think that Elektra, who wasn't even the best thing about Daredevil, would make a good movie? I think somebody had the executives by the cojones and forced this movie to be made, because it's god-awful. Elektra has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 10% and an audience score of 29%. Coming in at number 3, this movie actually follows its comic origins rather well. The costume is done right, and the item that he uses is right, and that's it. Nothing else is done right in this movie. I hate myself for watching it. That's all I can say. Here's number 3. Coming in at number 3, Captain America. Captain America came out in 1990. It stars Captain America, Matt Salinger, and Red Skull Scott Pullen. This movie is edited so god-awfully, I don't even know what was going on half the time, and I watched the whole damn thing. This movie is ridiculous. The only thing that this movie does right is it follows the comic book origins, and Captain America is in costume. This is what the Red Skull looks like. Oh my god, when I saw him, I was like, what the hell happened in the makeup department? The movie is stupical, it's nonsensical. I mean, he steals a car twice in this movie. In fact, he's in civilian clothes more than he's in his Captain America outfit in this movie. It should have been called Steve Rogers, sometimes Captain America, because that's what it felt like. And the fighting scenes were edited even worse than Catwoman, if that's even possible. Captain America from 1990 has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 8% and an audience score of 16%. God knows how it even got that high. Coming in at number 2, I'm kind of trying to figure out how this movie even got greenlight. It is a Marvel movie because it came in under the same Marvel intro that all the movies back in the mid-2000s were coming in. It was a made-for-TV horror movie. It premiered on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's weird, and it's not very good. The creature was actually really well done. I think they spent their entire budget on it. Coming in at number 2, Man-Thing. Man-Thing premiered in 2005 on the Sci-Fi Channel. It stars Sheriff Kyle Williams, Matthew Lee Neves, probably butchering that up, Tyra Elizabeth Richards, Rachel Taylor, and what was it? Deputy Eric Fraser, Alex Lohan. This movie is just all types of bad. It's the perfect example of if you can't fake a good Southern accent, you should fake a bad one. I mean, this movie is just so disconjointed. Man-Thing kills everybody. It is a horror movie, technically, but it's Marvel, which makes it really unusual. There was one point in this movie where one redneck saw his other redneck buddy killed, and he reacts like that stupid kid in glasses from Trolls 2. Man-Thing kills everybody there until the swamp platforms that for some reason got put in the swamps gets taken down. The only thing that follows the comic book origin is this Indian guy, who Man-Thing ends up killing, says that Man-Thing protects the nexus of all realities, and the movie had nothing to do with that. Man-Thing has a Rotten Tomato score of 17% and an audience score of 12%. I'm sorry for all the movies that I've subjected you to so far. If you've watched any of them, that's your own fault, not mine. I did warn you. Here is a list of some movies that did not make the list, but very well could have. Coming in at number one. Number one is bad. It's very, very bad. And it's not so bad that it's good, it's so bad that it's bad. It strays heavily from his comic book origin. He's not even wearing his original costume. His origin, everything about this movie is horrible. It is bad on top of bad. And the characters in this movie are so forgettable that if they're not on screen, you don't even remember them being in the movie. The actor they got for the main character in this movie is horrible. Now, this is a two-for list. They did make a movie and a sequel that both came out in the same year. They only came on television. Now, I didn't get to see the second movie on this list. It is the only one in this entire thing that I was not able to watch because I was not able to find it. In fact, the sequel for the first movie stars Christopher Lee, which has definitely got to be a low point in his career. So here is number one. And may God have mercy on my soul for ever watching it. Coming in at number one, Captain America. Captain America premiered in 1979 and stars Captain America Steve Rogers, Reb Brown. This movie is very loosely based on Captain America. The only thing that makes his Captain America is the fact that he's called Steve Rogers. This movie is horrible. Steve Rogers just gets out of the Marines, which, if we remember, Steve Rogers couldn't join the military because he was so small and weak and couldn't do it. They try to kill him within the first 15 minutes of this movie. He's not even Captain America yet. The process that makes him Captain America are super steroids, not a super soldier serum, and they're called Flag, not the super soldier serum. And it wasn't the Russian scientist who created the super soldier serum, it was Captain America's father. And the only reason he's called Captain America is because his father was ridiculed with that name because he was flushing out criminals. His helmet is his hood. It's a hooded helmet. And the outfit, he doesn't become Captain America until halfway through. He doesn't wear an outfit until an hour into an hour and 38-minute movie. The shield looks like painted plexiglass. I mean, this movie is just the stupidest thing. And every time Reb Brown talks, he looks like he's bored in his own movie. And all the other characters in this movie are so dry that you forget about them as soon as they're off the screen. Now, I haven't been able to find the second movie, and I should probably say thank God, considering how god-awful the first movie was. And I think the only reason that he's smiling in this movie is because he knows he's getting a paycheck for being Captain America. Captain America is so bad, number 1 or 2 both do not have Rotten Tomatoes score. Captain America number 1 has an audience score of 14%, and the sequel has an audience score of 9%. Okay, well that did it for this list. If you express any interest in watching any of these movies on this list, you obviously did not pay attention, and it is not my fault, and I absolve myself of all responsibilities if you do. These movies were extremely hard to sit through, and I don't recommend it for anybody, but I did hope that you did enjoy this list, and if you did express any interest in watching these movies that you now don't. Oh boy, these worst movies lists just take a lot out of you, and I'll be coming out with some more videos soon. So until next time, I'll be seeing you.